We are celebrating every set that is rotating this year, and this week we are celebrating Rebel Clash with, of course, Dragapult. Welcome to Jank Play TCG. My name is Landon, and here we play Jank. And so today I have a Dragapult VMAX deck that I've been having a lot of fun with. It's very strange compared to other Dragapult VMAX lists that I've seen. And as we know, Dragapult VMAX, here, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up for us. There. Was very popular for Rebel Clash. It was the most popular deck. And it wasn't until Eternatus came into the format with Darkness Ablaze that Dragapult really saw a fall in play. Even came back a little bit in battle styles. But Dragapult VMAX, definitely the star Pokemon in Rebel Clash, and I built a deck around it because that's what I do to celebrate these sets. So, let's start off by just going through the list. 4 copies of Dragapult V because it is the star Pokemon, Dragapult V and VMAX. So, we got 4 copies of here, and we've got 3 copies of the VMAX. Now, the 4-3 line is really just so we can get the Dragapult V down and settled very easily, and then we can go find the VMAX later. So the whole point of Dragapult VMAX is the Max Phantom attack, which only does 130 damage, which is quite low for today's meta. You do, however, get to put 5 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any way you like, and that allows you to either set up future KOs or just grab KOs off the bench, which is really fantastic and a very strong attack for a Pokemon to use, especially since a lot of people are using single prize Pokemon to set up, and like Bibarel for a draw engine, which has 120 HP, 2 attacks from Dragapult, and 2 Zigzagoons down, and you just got yourself a KO. So that is pretty handy. That Bibarel would never have to see the active, and you'd be able to do that. Even with a Manaphy does not block this attack. This drops damage counters, not damage, and Manaphy only blocks damage. If you are unfamiliar with that concept, I have a video about damage versus damage counters you might find interesting. So as I mentioned, we have 2 copies of Galarian Zigzagoon, and when you play that down onto your bench, you get to put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and that helps clean up some of the math. So, like we were saying with Dragapult VMAX, 130 is quite low. However, 2 Max Phantoms equals 260. You're 20 away from KOing a Lugia V-Star. You are exactly 2 Zigzagoons away from KOing a Lugia V-Star. Now, we also play Scoop Up Net to help you reuse Galarian Zigzagoon, so, you know, we can use this Galarian Zigzagoon more than just twice. We've got 2 copies of Espurr, which can evolve into these 2 copies of Meowstic. Meowstic has this Inviting Ears ability, and I believe Meowstic is going to see a rise in play as soon as Shady Dealings rotates. Inviting Ears lets you search your deck for 2 supporter cards, reveal them, put them into your hand. I often search just for 1 Professor's Research because that's going to discard the rest of my hand and draw up 7 new cards. But it can be useful to grab a Bird Keeper and a Marnie, and Bird Keeper one turn, Marnie the next turn, or what I really like to do is grab a Serena and a Marnie, and then play the Marnie, putting the Serena on the bottom of the deck, holding it in the deck for later. You can always search it back out with Meowstic to gust up a Pokemon V to grab those KOs as necessary. So that's how I like using Meowstic. And then we also have Zacian V. I know we just did a deck with Zacian V, and it's come around again. However, it is a completely different Zacian V. It's the one from Celebrations, and the Roar of the Sword is the ability that we are focused on here. It just allows us to grab a Psychic Energy from the deck, attach it to one of our Pokemon, and it ends our turn, so we don't want to use it too much. But also, we've got the Storm/Attack. So Zacian V kind of comes in as a decent 2-prize attacker, while Dragapult VMAX is a 3-prize attacker, so we can kind of mess with the prize exchange a little bit. You can see that we are not playing Manaphy in the list. How often do you come against spread? Most of the time, that spread that you're trying to prevent is coming from either Raikou, who we can one-hit with Dragapult, who really realistically is attacking into Dragapult, not getting a KO, barely doing enough damage, and maybe grabbing a single prizer, and then Dragapult's just going to knock it out and deal extra damage somewhere else. Or you're playing against Urshifu. Urshifu's weak to Psychic, and Dragapult saw that rise in play against Urshifu. So not only is Dragapult strong against it, but it also resists Urshifu. So there's a lot going on there that I didn't feel Manaphy was absolutely necessary. But this Zacian does help me get energy out quickly. And there's a neat trick with it. So if we go over to trainers, we have EXP share. You throw that down onto Zacian V, and then it's just taking the energy that's being KO'd in front of you, and you're able to use that for a future attack. So it's got its swings and roundabouts. So let's go back to the beginning of the list of these trainers. We got 3 copies of Bird Keeper, because we are not playing an air balloon in this. So Bird Keeper is really our best way to retreat out of the active. We've got 2 Ordinary Rod to recover whatever we might need. 3 copies of Serena, because not only is it a great draw card, but we have that gusting ability against Pokemon V. And that's what... Serena is just such a good freaking card. We've got 2 copies of Forest Seal Stone, just because we're not using that V-Star power for anything else, so why not throw in 2 copies of this so we can find it, and we can use it, and grab any card we want from the deck, because that is just amazing. We got 4 copies of Scoop Up Net, which lets us reuse Galarian Zigzagoon, lets us reuse Meowstic, and... you know, lets us get them out of the active too. So that's another way to get something out of the active, but also just to pick them up off the field. If our opponent is playing some sort of bench hitting deck, we can pick those up before they become targets, hopefully. We've got 4 copies of Fog Crystal, which is a fantastic card, mixed with all these psychic Pokemon that we're playing. Everything except for Zigzagoon is psychic, so Fog Crystal just makes sense, plus we can search out energy if needed as well. 3 copies of Ultra Ball to help us search any Pokemon, mostly the evolutions being Dragapult VMAX and Meowstic. We got 2 copies of Marnie, because it's a fantastic card. 2 copies of Collapsed Stadium. I honestly, like, I struggled to find another stadium to use. Old Cemetery was an option to get some extra damage, but doesn't work against other psychic decks, and it gets really awkward. Collapsed Stadium, I felt, was beneficial due to the fact that it can remove an Archeops from the field, possibly. Unlikely. It can really mess with the field, and we're not dealing with a big bench ourselves. You know, often we'll just have 2 Dragapults, a Zacian, a Meowstic, and a Zigzagoon out. And that's it. And that's only 5 Pokemon. One of them's got to be in the active. That leaves us 4 bench spots. So we don't really need that 5th spot. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. But it's good at messing up my opponent. Now, we do have to be careful when using Collapsed Stadium that we don't let our opponent discard a very hurt Pokemon that we are going to grab a KO with Dragapult. While testing this deck, I've made that mistake a couple times, so it's something I have to keep an eye out for. We've got 4 copies of Turbo Patch to help us get energy out on the field. Dragapult being a 2 energy attacker with very little energy acceleration, Turbo Patch was my choice here. There is an argument to go Shadow Rider Calyrex in this deck, but I just felt if I was doing that, then I was building a bad Shadow Rider Calyrex deck rather than building a good Dragapult deck, if that makes any sense. So I went with Turbo Patch. And we've got 3 copies of Professor's Research, best draw of the game. The supporter line may sound a little low to you, but that's because we have Meowstic in the game. And being able to search out supporters, I felt like I was comfortable having a lower number of supporters in general. If we go over to energy, it is 4 Horror Energy, 4 Basic Psychic Energy. Pretty simple stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into Test Deck and see this deck in action and show you guys how it plays. Heads or tails? Always go tails. Because tails never fails. Except when it does. Yep. About 50% of the time, it fails. Always seems a little higher for me, but you know. Alright, so our opponent will go first, of course. Right off the bat, we go Dragapult V and a VMAX in hand. We've got a Zigzagoon. If we need to place an extra damage counter, we can. Looks like we're playing up against a fighting deck, which will be beneficial to us. Oh no, it is just a Rapid Strike deck. So this is going to be an Urshifu match, which is fascinating to me because, okay. Sobble. If they only attached the energy to the Sobble, they could keep calling, or no, it was turn 1, so no, they couldn't. I'll put the Horror energy down. I'm even going to use a Zigzagoon to ping the Remoraid there. Because if they do not evolve into Octillery, then Dragapult is going to be able to grab that KO. And then I'm going to use Serena. We're going to discard the other Zigzagoon and the Psychic energy. Continue. Because now we can just Turbo Patch. And if we hit heads, we did not. There's that tails for us. We've got Scoop Up Net for the Zigzagoon if we need it. We've got Ultra Ball, and we've got Dragapult VMAX and a Professor's Research. So our hand looks pretty good. So I'm just going to bite, do the 30. And this is good because if they evolve and retreat the Sobble, I can still ping the Zigzagoon on them and use the Max Phantom to get the extra damage on the Drizzle and get that KO. Phalanx coming down from a Quick Ball. Phalanx is weak to Psychic, although that doesn't matter too much because we are strong enough to get that KO without weakness. Level Ball, grabbing another Drizzle, even though they don't have another Sobble. It's always interesting to see how the AI plays, which is, to say, terribly. Always terribly. Alright, so Dragapult can come down. We've got the Scoop Up Net. Do we want to ping anyone? Yes, we do, because both these Pokemon are sitting here with 110 HP, and that means it would take 3 Max Phantoms to get the KO, but with 1 Galarian Zigzagoon, that becomes 2. So let's go ahead and Pokemon Professor's Research. We do get a Psychic Energy, so we can throw that down. We get Dragapult, Espurr, and Zacian. And honestly, we don't need much more. We even get another Scoop Up Net. Gonna pick up that Zigzagoon, drop it back down, and put that damage counter on the Phalanx. There we go. Now we have a Fog Crystal that can get us an energy in the future. But for now, we are just going to KO Drizzle. We're going to KO the Remoraid with these damage counters. And that's going to take away support. They won't have Drizzle to evolve into Inteleon, although I think they're playing the Quick Shooting. And they won't have Remoraid to evolve into Octillery, removing that option to search for a Rapid Strike card. And we get a Turbo Patch. We get an Ordinary Rod. We can Turbo Patch, hopefully get heads, and attach it to the Dragapult. We've got Bird Keeper if we really want to use it. I don't think we do, though. Quick Ball for a Rapid Strike Urshifu. That's going to hit the board. That is a great Serena target in the future. Right now, we can Dragapult the Phalanx and drop 5 counters on the Pissimian and get that ready. Although with Meowstic, we might just grab 2 Serenas, so we can gust up the Urshifu now and hit it before it evolves because it just grabbed the evolution, and then we can drop damage counters on a Pokemon. 50 damage to the Dragapult VMAX, but the Horror Energy putting damage right on them. Horror Energy is always just that extra bonus that's just fantastic, isn't it? So we're going to play down Meowstic, and we are going to grab the 2 Serenas that I was mentioning. Yes. As long as we have both of them in deck, which we do. Beautiful. 2 Serenas in hand. Let's gust up the Urshifu. And let's see. We don't have... This is an issue. We don't have any energy to attach. So, sadly, We're going to miss out on an attachment, but I don't think it's that big of a deal since we are taking 2 KOs and setting up a third with damage counters here. And as long as they don't put the Pissimian in the active, we're going to be pretty much set to win next turn. So there is a Horror Energy. They did put the Pissimian active, but it's the AI. So hopefully they'll retreat. Drizzle comes down lane, them grab any trainer card, which is going to be fantastic. Yep, it's a Tower of Waters giving the Pissimian free retreat, and that's going to hopefully allow them to retreat into the Phalanx. We have 2 Scoop Up Nets to drop 2 Zigzagoons, which put that up to 50, which is just not enough. And I don't know if there's... Let's see, we got 2 Scoop Up Nets there and a Zigzagoon there. So this is going to be a little difficult, but I'm going to go for it. We're going to put a Zigzagoon back into the deck. Right? This is all sorts of weird. So this isn't what I would call normal play that I'm doing right now. We're going to drop the Collapsed Stadium, scoop up Zigzagoon, drop it. Why did I play the Collapsed Stadium? I should not have played the Collapsed Stadium. It's fine, though. It's fine. Zigzagoon, and I'll just drop it again. And we'll place the damage counters on Phalanx, and then next turn, you know, we can pretty much guarantee all of this. So, little bit of a misplay, dropping the Collapsed Stadium. I meant to discard it with a Serena, and I did not, but it's all good. Because Serena could have discarded the Collapsed Stadium, the Bird Keeper, and the Zacian V. And we got Fog Crystal, so we get a Psychic Energy with that, attach it to our Dragapult, and we're still going to be looking pretty good here. Being able to KO the Phalanx, yeah, it's all looking amazing. Just great. This worked out perfectly. I don't know what else to say. I made a misplay, and yet it doesn't even matter. Mostly because it's the bot. Escape Rope. Okay, we'll put up Dragapult V. What are they going to put up? Crobat. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. Evolution Incense. They grab another Inteleon. Professor's Research. Yep. All to be expected. Air Balloon onto the Crobat. Now they can retreat into something to attack with. I would guess the Inteleon, but who knows. Quick Shooting. Yeah. We do get an Ultra Ball. We don't even need it, though, because we could have just Bird Keepered into the Dragapult VMAX and get the KO. But we will use it, because why not? Zacian, Serena, for a VMAX. And we will attack. 130, not KOing the Crobat, but we'll put 20 there, 20 there, and 10 there. KOing the Phalanx and getting our final prize. Which was a Dragapult VMAX, apparently. I was so close to not having one in deck. Alright, so there is Dragapult VMAX, the Rebel Clash Celebration deck that I built. I hope you guys enjoyed this look into what a modern Dragapult VMAX deck could look like. And I hope you guys are enjoying the celebration of the rotating sets that we are doing. I'm having a lot of fun with it. In fact, I know Andrew Mahone recently did a similar video. He took a 2014 deck and put it up against Lugia V-Star to see how well it would do. It did not do well, but it was still an interesting video, and I love that idea. I wish I could go that far back. I wish I had the resources to do that, and Pokemon TCG Live does not support cards that far back, I don't think. Last I heard, it was Sun and Moon that they were supporting, and they haven't supported X and Y cards yet. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But thank you so much for watching. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what we're doing here. At the time of recording, we are very close to 100 subscribers. Once we hit that, we will have a Discord server that we can chat Jank cards, jank decks, jank formats, jank games. If there's another TCG out there that you think I should check out, that you think I maybe have not, which I don't know. I play a lot of them. We could talk about those. But yeah, if I do have 100 subscribers, check the description because there's probably a Discord link there, and you can join and we can chat, and that'll be fun. And of course, until next time, keep playing jank.